Okay. Can you see my sharing? Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
we can see.
Okay. Well, good evening again, brother and sister, and welcome back to my Dharma class. And today we are going to talk about precept number 10. This is the final precept during our journey. Well, this is called do not handle money or just possession for personal use. And this one, the way to live in reliance on the Sangha. So these precepts may look like a rule about money, but actually it's a true purpose, is liberations of the mind, and money is only symbol. Just what the Buddha is really addressing here is about attachment, controls, or something like fear or identity. Well, just by renouncing as money and personal ownership, we are training in tasks instead of controls, or something like freedoms instead of security based on possessions, and just simplicity instead of accumulation. Well,
I can't open my
okay, all right. Can you
my
hear me well?
my iPad. So
Okay, can you mute yourself?
Do not hand money,
All right.
money on
possessions
possession for
Okay.
use.
living in reliance on the Sangha.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Oh,
What?
Mike,
okay. I'm sorry. Can you mute yourself? Okay, it's all right. Okay, so continues. So, just in summary, this precept protects the spiritual dignity of the Sangha and the inner purities of the practitioner. So let me begin with okay, let's move on to attendance. So for the lesson today, and we are going to follow a deep and a progressive structure. And we begin by reflecting on your homework. Of course, that can be the first thing we have to do every class. So, and then learning is not only intellectual but lived. And then we clarify our learning objects, so our mind has a clear direction. And next, we study the origins of precept, not as the history alone, but also to understand why the Buddha saw money as spiritually dangerous for monastics. And then we go inward to examine the inner intentions of the precept and what it takes in the heart. And finally, we explore how this precept becomes a real daily practice in a monastic life. So this is not just a lesson about rules, but also this can be the lesson about the freedom, about our practice, about our wisdom. Okay? Okay. Well, have a look at the feedbacks on your writings. First of all, I would like to say that I really like to say that I want to show my deep appreciation to all of you for your sincere and heartfelt reflections. So just every single writing shows that you didn't approach this homework casually, but with true mindfulness and respect for the teachings. Across all the reflections, one very strong and beautiful theme appeared, gratitude. And a gratitude for food and for conditions that bring food to our bowls, and for the people who support our practice. Well, just many of you, maybe I can say most of you clearly understand that food is not something ordinary. It's the result of countless causes and conditions coming together. That's very good point from your writings. So, and another things I want to share with you that I can see many of you that are not only understanding the teachings intellectually, but you are applying it in your daily life. So through reading the five repressions or something like adjusting your eating habits or fasting mindfully or observing how food affects your bodies and your meditation practice. So this is two learnings, and when the Dharma is lived, not just studies. So that's very just important point from our class. Yeah, remember that the Buddha teaching is not just something for study, but also for practice. Okay. Well, in general, I want to emphasize that your reflections show maturities and sincerities and a growing spiritual awareness. So this is very joyful for me to read all of your writings. Thank you for so much for that. Okay. Okay. Well, and let me go in details about individual strengths. I mean, just I want to honor the unique and strengths that each of you brought into your reflections. Each person practice shines in a different way. So far, I have collected around 10 writings. So each of the writings has, its strength and its points, something interesting. Okay, so let's begin with Jenny. Um, well, your reflections shows deep devotion to the triple champs and a beautiful spirit of offering. And your daily practice before eating is very sincere and uplifting for me. So that's very good point. Thank you for that. Okay. And another one I want to share with you is Shu's writing. And Shu, your honesty is struggling with will and your willingness to adjust your diet with mindfulness shows true self-awareness and courage in your practice. Okay, thank you for that. And the next one here I want to focus on is Hernin's writings. Well, Hernin's, your strong sense of interdependence and something like global compassion reflects deep understanding of the five reflections and a gratitude for Sangha life. Yes. And the next person is Amina. So your practical application of things and using the five reflections daily shows so wonderful consistencies and sincerities in training. I love your reflections. Okay, so and about Tony, and Tony, your reflections demonstrate just something like creative inquiry and a beginner's mind. So just your learned, unlearned or relearned approach is very powerful for deep transformations here. So I love that method to practice approach here. Okay, the next one, manual. To be honest, manual, just your life story brings a humble and a grounded gratitude that comes from real hardship. So this kind of appreciation is very precious. So I do agree with your ideas here because in the past I came from very disadvantaged family. I mean, just even I myself, I didn't have enough food for my life because just as I have just shared with you before, and my family is very, was very big family. So my parents, couldn't afford have enough food for all the members in my family. So I do agree with your idea here. Yeah, that can be the good point and very precious from your writing. The next one, just I as Amir. Your preparation shows a beautiful cultural and a communal understanding of food and a deep respect towards masters and a monastery. Well, on those we come from different cultures, we have a lot of things in common. And the more in common here about Buddhism and the temple, the monastery. So that's why I have a real understanding of your writings and your reflection. Yep. The next one, just Lauren Jules and Josh writing reflects a deep Dharma insight, especially in understanding craving, moderations, and just something like bodhisattva spirit. Bella, you have strong discipline and determination with a thoughtful connection with traditional monastic trainings and fasting practice. Yeah. So you keep going with that practice. Yeah, with that practice. Okay. So you can practice the five contemplations, in front of every meal. That's very good one to show your gratitude and to improve your spiritual practice. Okay. And the last one, Kenneth's writings demonstrate a strong practical understanding of middle way and a skillful connecting fastings, moderations, and mindful eating with a direct observation of the bodies and mind. So your reflection also shows deep gratitude, honesty about personal struggle, and just in your practice. And this can, highlight sincere self-forgiveness and a continual recommitment to cultivation. Okay, so from your Kenneth, from your writing, just I am really impressed by your the method about the middle way, the middle way. Just everything should be balanced in the middle. Yeah. Even our eating habits. Okay, lovely.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, my pleasure. And to summarize, each of you here is cultivating in your broad way, and all together here you formed just a very meaningful spiritual community in our class. Okay, lovely to share with our each other, and we can learn it from each other as well. Yeah, thank you so much for your writing, for your reflections, and all of your writing encourage me a lot. Yeah, that can be the source of encouragement for me to practice, to improve by myself. Okay, thank you for that. Well, any questions or any comments about the writing?
I have a question
Yes.
that this just kind of came to me, but you were talking about this and a couple other people in the reflections. I know for me, something that I've been struggling with since starting this process is I also grew up with food insecurity. Like I grew up with a single mom. We grew up pretty much on food stamps my whole life and didn't always have food. And so I noticed as an adult, I like normally before this, I would make sure my fridge is always full because if my fridge is empty, then I feel like a lot of emotions. I feel very anxious. I feel like I have to go, like Shui knows, I'll go and like buy groceries just to have food in the fridge. And I've noticed that since I've started eating at the temple, a lot of patterns or behaviors of like being afraid that I'm not gonna have enough food or feeling like I have to take more food for later or like this fear of not having enough food has come back up again. Um, which I know is not it's not the case. The temple Truc has a lot of food. Like it's not like a rational fear, but it still comes up and it's still something that I notice. Sometimes I might take too much food or I'll eat too much food just because I feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have food again, which is not, it's like not the present day, but I still feel like it's there from my childhood.
Okay. Well, just to be honest, it's very hard for me to say that's a good or bad habit. But just you know what I mean here, because um, but to me that's just for me, eating times can be the time to practice. Just because you haven't just told me the story about your childhood, but now you haven't just changed for the better. Because in the past you didn't know how to practice with the Buddhism, for example, right? So you were not aware of the values of food, or even the value you should have, should show for what the food and for the supporters you have, But here, when you especially when you become a nun in the temple, eating time is a good opportunity to think about the food, and even you have to practice to think about your the bad karma, something like greed, just something can be replanted from the five contemplation practice you have done before. Yes. Okay. Yes. You can see yourself, your mind, and your bodies, and everything about yourself, and your thinking from your eating habit and eating manner. That can be the practice, not just enjoy the food. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right. My pleasure. So, any more questions for me, or any sharings, any comments? Just at the end of the course, maybe when I come to the Tuklam temple, and when I come there to get you to do the text, I will collect all the writings in the booklet, and I print it out for you to keep as a souvenir for our course. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's why because I myself, and I love reading your writings again and again, over and over, so that I can learn from your writings. And just when I read your writings, I can I can feel encouraged to practice Buddhism. I can know that Buddhism is not just for study; it must be for practice as well. Yeah. Okay. So, any more questions, or if you don't have any questions, let's come to the main part of
In
our.
in my writing, Venerable, I just want to share that I try to not use the word I, me, my too much. Just being conscious more in my writing to find a way to not use those words. Obviously, when we're speaking, we have to use I, me, my sometimes just to kind of express. But in my writing, I just try to practice the master's teaching of not having an I, me, mine, and so I try to practice that in my writing as well, to just be conscious about it. It's just my way of just trying to continue to be conscious of the selfless and non-ego aspect of master's teaching.
Yes, awesome. Yeah.
Just want to share. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Of course, everyone just want to share here. Yes, just I find it very interesting to read your writings, your sharing. Yeah, lovely. So any more? Okay, Jenny.
In speaking of the test, when are we having it? Which day?
Pardon?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Okay, yes. Can you say again?
Oh yeah. In speaking of the test, which day is it gonna be, the test?
Maybe of course, in the temple, the Tuklam monastery.
Yeah, like which day? Is it gonna be next Tuesday or
No,
or
not stay, because I will give you a notice announcement about that. Yeah, because so after this class we will have a long vacation, long holiday, and then maybe just let me just make a schedule for the text, and I will tell you later. Yeah, because
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's come to another slide here. Okay. So about the lesson today, and by the end of the today's lessons, we will able to just firstly understand why monastics do not handle money or possessions for personal use. And the second one, we can explain, just the spirit meanings of reliance on the Sangha. And the third one we can have after the today's lessons is that we can apply this precept mindfully in our daily monastic life. And the last one is that we can see how the precept support meditations and wisdom. So these four goals will guide our learning today. Okay, so now let us reflect personally on these questions. Just according to the spirit of Precept 10, Buddhist monks and nuns are not allowed to handle money or personal possessions. So my question is that, do you think this could be the big challenge for you? Why and why not? All right, who wants to be the volunteer to share your reflections?
Venerable, can you verify? I mean, not verify, but can you expand on that? Because I mean, I know we're supposed to let go of our possessions and things like that. So when I think of money,
Okay.
we're living a simple life, right? So it's like,
just this one is just be based on a spirit of precept number 10.
right.
So, Buddhist monks and nuns are not allowed to handle money or personal possessions, something like gold or silver or just something your valuable belongings. Yep. Yes.
Yeah, I don't really see a difficulty with that. I mean, if we handle any money or any kind of currency, it would just be for like basic needs. It wouldn't be anything, extravagant. It would be probably like for food or just, things for the community, but nothing personal, like for personal gain or shopping or spending something extravagant. It's just a very simple, basic living. So, yeah, I don't see that as being a problem for me or for anybody, I don't think.
Okay. Yes, that's very good one. Thank you for your sharing. Okay. Kenneth, Quantel, can you please?
Yeah. So I think I view that money is a tool, just like anything in life. The Bodhisattva used tools to help. Like for example, I see our master Chin. He has possessions, money, wealth, assets, but I think the difference is he doesn't let it control him. He used as a tool and transform that tool to help others and practice his bodhisattva way. So I think, and for me, I just kind of personally, I also have a company and various assets, and and it's forget to not to give it all away. I think that would be difficult just from a personal perspective. But if you view it if it's just as a tool and we're not attached to it, slave to it, and use that money or wealth as a way to help others and give back. So I think that is just another approach or another method of applying the bodhisattva way, and not necessarily needing to having to give away everything. That's my just 2 cents on this topic.
Yes, very good point. So I do agree with your idea that just you say it's something like we are the owners of money, not we are slave of money. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
To add to what Kenneth said, I totally see the same way. Wealth, we can accumulate wealth, but it's to basically later on distribute it with wisdom And that's kind of also like a key point there. And help others. So it's not necessarily like for the purpose of greed and just accumulating more and more and more, because our human mind tends to go towards more and more, correct? But yes, so I view Master as an example. Master has companies, he makes money, but it's again not for selfish purposes, but for helping humanity in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. So anything else?
Venerable, just to add, so I mean, I like with Bella and what Kenneth have said, and what we've talked about before, everything is supposed to be done in moderation,
Yeah.
such as the middle way, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the precepts that have been given, and I think even Shui mentioned this back then, where it's like the conditions at the time of the Buddha were so different.
Yes.
And now we are modern, right? So we have, like, we're not living by the means of society, but we're still in a society. So there's a delicate balance that we have to kind of maintain with the conditions of life. So I don't think it's a all yes or all no. It's in the middle, and it depends on what and how you use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yep, correct. So it's like just and I have just told you before, just something like we are the masters of money. We are not a slave of money. It means we shouldn't be dependent on the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It depends on the way you spend money, and even we can earn money or we can owe money or we spend money, but it depends on how to do that. Not okay. Oh, that's very good. Okay, so but here I want to share with you the origins of the precepts. During the Buddha time, mm-hmm. What are the cause intentions of the Buddhas when the Buddha talks about the precepts? That's important. You have to focus on. Okay. All right. So and here we go. Firstly, I just want to focus on the time and a historical, context. And the Buddha lived in the 5th century BCE and in ancient India. So after his enlightenment, he established the monastics, Sangha, the community, the monastics community, so that the people who wish to live their worldly life could focus fully on the path of liberations. So in the beginning, monks lived very simply, and they owed almost nothing and depended completely on alms, on a food from the lay people. So their life was centered on meditations and ethical conduct and wisdom. But after that, just as the Sangha grew up and it became respected and in the society by the lay people, so new practical issues appeared. Some monks began to accept gold, silver, and money, for example, to make the life more convenient and the life, to make the life more comfortable and the life more enjoyable. However, just the Buddha observed that when money enters, or when just gold or silver, and it enters the monastic life, and attachment and comparisons and complete soon follow immediately. So out of compassion and wisdom, the Buddha established this precept to protect mind of the monastics from worldly attachments and preserve the purities of the Sangha. So that's the the context. These precepts appeared in the monastic community. Okay. So, and the next one here, let me tell you more about the early monastic life in the Buddha time. Mm-hmm. So, you remember that in the last week class, we have just talked about that, right? In the times of the Buddha, and a monastic life was designed to be radically, symbol. And a monk or a nun and live with only what was truly necessary for survival or for practice. And this simplicity, was not, the accidentals, or it was the deliberate spiritual training that can be practiced. So, and monastics, a nun or a monk possess only three roles to protect their bodies and from the heat and the cold. And then they just had an arms both for just for receiving daily food and a rice or something right from the lay people. And then they just had the simple shelter for resting and during the rainy seasons. So these few requests were enough for life, for survival for the monks and nuns to survive. And they were not meant to give comfort or pleasure, but simply to something like support the body so that the mind could practice the Dharma, the Buddha teachings. Well, and monks and nuns, just at that times and travels on foot, just barefoot, all right? And moving from this place to the other with no permanent home or no stored wealth. So every morning, for example, they went on alms round and walking silently through the villages to get some food, and whatever food was really offered. They didn't choose donors, or they didn't ask for special food. They accepted whatever was given with humility or gratitude. So this daily practice of alms was not only about food, it was a trainings in Latin goals of controls, in equalities, in something like humilities and in trust. So each days monastics, the people there and learned again and again. So something like my life is supported by generosity, and I do not live by possessions. It means that the people in that, the Matis people during that day, that times, didn't need have any belongings, just because they lived based on the food from the lay people. Okay, so what's about the rest of the day here? And they just spend the rest of the day on three main activities, something like meditations to calm and purify the mind, and then to focus on studying the Dharma to deeper understandings, and then just they just after lunch times, and they just talk the Dharma to guide others on the path to enlightenment. So it means there was no business, no training, no financial activity, and no planning for wealth. And the Buddha knew that as soon as business and money enter the monastic life, the worldly mind enters with them, with a worry, competitions, and a pride and a fear. So it means by moving monies and commerce completely, the Buddha created a protected spiritual environment in such an environment. So there is little to defend, little to compare, little to fight over, and more space for mindfulness, for wisdom, for practice. So when we study this early lifestyle, we should understand that it was not, just primitive or poor. It was scientifically designed for liberation. So it was the best possible external condition for cultivating and something like an attacked or and a peaceful mind, for all the monks and nuns at that time. Okay. All right. So any question about the early monastic life in the Buddha's time? So any reflections or any comments about that? So what do you think about the life during the Buddha's time?
Venerable, it's kind of ironic when I hear you talk about the Buddha's time, because the way the Buddha had it structured for his disciples and for the Sangha was incredibly simple, but you also have to know that back then, you know, life wasn't as advanced. You know, it was travel by foot, and there wasn't anything like air conditioner or like AC and, you know, technology like phones or iPads or any kind of devices or Wi-Fi. So it was a very, very simple way of living by default for everybody. And the precepts we have now, they're applying them now is a little bit different because of the way that society is today, but it almost feels like, in a way, that even though we're so advanced, there's a big benefit of doing research and finding knowledge and understanding things, but it's also kind of tricky because we're so advanced. I feel like, you know, the distractions are more around us than they were back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something different from that in the Buddha's time. Yeah, sure. So the modern life is today's more and more complicated.
Yeah.
Like the symbol like that's in the Buddha's life. So that's why when we learn these precepts, we should have something like flexible understanding. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So the next slide here, I just want to focus more about the life in the past. In the past, just here. Um, Again, in the Buddha's time, the Sangha didn't live independently from the society. Instead, the Buddha established the beautiful relationship of, just a mutual dependence between monastic people and lay people. So, for example, lay people supported the monastics with material needs, and monastics supported lay people with the dharma and a moral guidance and spiritual teachings. And this creates a balanced and a healthy spiritual community. So, just when we have look at this slide here, we just remember the duties of a monk and nun in the past. All right. What are the duties of the monk and nuns? And here, monks and nuns should be expected to spread the Buddha teachings and to guide other people to get enlightened on the path and to enlightenment, right? Okay. So, and the lay people, the lay followers offered what are called the four requisites, and something like food for daily nourishment, and robes for clothing, and shelter for protection from weather, and medicines when sickness arose. Okay, so these offerings were given through danas or pure generosities. So they were not payments, not salary, and not business transactions. And lay people didn't buy teachings, and the monastics didn't sell the Dharma, the Buddha teachings. And this system protects both sides. Lay people cultivated generosity, merit, and faith. And what's about the monastic people? They were protected from attachment to money or bargaining or financial worry. Okay, so because support was based on generosities rather than business, the relationship between sanghas and lay people here remained pure and respectful and just something like spiritual, not just something like material. So precept number 10 was established to protect this sacred and pure relationship and reassure that the monastic life remained rooted in trust, simplicities, and liberations, not in money. Okay? You just that can be the main point here. Remember that. Just something like all the support here just should be based on generosity. That can be something the lay people should practice. And for monks and nuns, they just improve, just their practice and to improve their spirit and to spread the Buddha teachings. Okay. So anything you want to share with us from that? Does it make sense for you? Yes?
Yes, it makes sense. So it was just a very pure exchange, essentially.
Okay. So about the precept, I just want to focus on just the inner intentions of the precept. So that's why I mean when I say I told that, and when you learn this precept, you should be understand it in a flexible way, in a adaptive way, not just just here. So what are the in the intentions of the precepts here? So firstly, to cut the root of craving. That's something the Buddha expected us to do. All right. So the typical inner intentions, this is to weaken the craving or to minimize craving, which the Buddha clearly identified as the root cause of suffering. So craving is not only the desire for big things, and it also appears in more subtle way throughout the day. So money and possessions, just naturally stimulate for powerful mental habits. So one thing, so always feeling I need more, for example, okay? You should remove those feelings when you have something. And then just accumulating. It means you want to store some things for a sense of security. And then another sense here about comparing, and that's either the sense of measuring ourselves against others, and then the feelings about fearing loss, and just that can be a kind of worrying about losing what you have. Okay, so when these habits grow, the mind becomes restless and something like anxious and never totally satisfied. So even when the body is comfortable and the heart remains uneasy. So that's according to the Buddha teachings. Okay, so by not handling money and not claiming ownership, and the practitioner directly trains the opposite qualities. Something like not wanting more. It means we can practice how to be content with our life. And the second thing here, not fitting designer. It means we practice not giving energy to craving. And the third one is related to being satisfied with little. So this means discovering that pigs do not depend on having more. So pigs should come from our mind, our practice, our spirit practice, not just something from outside. So each time we let go of money, we are not just giving up an object. We are, weakening the habit of craving itself. And this is why precept number 10 is not merely a rules of discipline. It is a powerful daily training in just our freedoms from the suffering. Okay, so that's very good quality to remember and to improve in our life, our just monastic life. So any question for me about that?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, right now we're not living at the temple. We still have our apartment, and but and we're both still working. I've been working less than I usually do to go to the temple, but I feel like I'm more in a headspace where I'm more focused just on making enough money to like pay for my gas and pay for our rent and, pay for like car insurance and stuff, but not really more than that. So I guess if we're just kind of making enough to pay for our bills to like so that we can actually go to the temple and cultivate, is that, I guess, is the accumulation like when you're trying to make more than what you need? Is that what accumulation would be? Or just trying to understand like where the line is drawn between like if if it's like we can make money to kind of like survive and pay for things versus like, oh, I'm gonna go out and hustle and have 10K months and make all, like the stuff where it's obvious.
I think
Mm-hmm.
can I chime in, Venerable?
Okay, sure.
And I think I think understand where you're coming from. I think that the wanting, accumulating, comparison, and fear all stems from letting money controls us. Not being being a slave to it. Meaning, and again, I'm just sharing because I think if once we learn to not have it be, not let it control us in terms of um, um, greed, doing for selfish reasons. So wanting, accumulating, comparing, those are all negative energies. That money, if it controls us, then those are the four descriptions. But I think if we flip that, you know, and the master shared that many times. It's like he said that if you don't understand this, then you will always be a slave to money, and you will never let it flow to you in a way that you can do what he's doing. Essentially, that's some of the things I've extracted from master's teaching. So wanting, if you flip it the other way, instead of wanting for self, what if it's altruism, right? Wanting for selfless, is the altruism of accumulating enough money for our, obviously, you know, o- ongoing expenses personally, whatever that means, but accumulating in a way so that we can really give in a very meaningful way. When we poor, we cannot give. I mean, you always tell me that all the time. When we poor, we cannot give, but when we have means and means, we can really give meaningfully. So once we flip the energy around of money, of not letting it control you, so the wanting is become a selfless wanting, is an altruistic wanting. The accumulation is not for selfish reasons, it's for selfless reasons. And in comparison, I think Theodore Roosevelt once said, I think I love this quote: comparison is the thief of joy. Is once we compare any to anything, we take away the joy in what we have. So I think if we can learn to just don't compare at all. I mean, you're we gather what we based on our karma, our talents, whatever it is. We I think I've learned to just do my best and let the heavens do the rest. Meaning, all I can do is do my best, and wherever the results come, how much that is, that's my best, and I'm content with that. I think that's the art. I think it's not the number. It's the best effort, and being content that you've done your best, and let the universe and your karma and your blessings flow through you. And fear, the last one is fear, and I think that's also one of the worst, the most hostile energy to have is the energy of fear. And I think once we, like I said, once we're able to turn the energy around, fear's gone. And I think it's money becomes flow, and energy is flow, and it comes like master. Like I think is once we break through that mindset, energy flows and money flows, and it will come in meaningful ways. So I think that's my interpretation of these four: wanting, accumulating, comparison, and fear. And I think it's because we let money control us and be a slave to us. But once we turn that around, it becomes an altruistic, accumulating for selfless, non-compare, and really love instead of fear, right? It's no more fear, it's love. Love that when we give, when we share, when we give somebody something, when we share something, it's all love. And I think those are powerful energies. We got to learn to flip that script.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay, absolutely. That's very good. So, just imagine we have two parts of our life, and we are two parts of our life. You know what I mean? Just spiritual life and a material life. So of course you have to learn the precept in a, again, just adaptive or a flexible way, and to balance the time for your material life and for your spiritual life. And most of them you should balance the time for that. Okay, to practice. All right, thank you so much, Kenneth John Downs. Very good sharings. And okay. Okay, so let's move on another slide here. Just let me clarify the main points of the precepts more. And this is another, in the intentions of the precept, and to uproot the sense of mind and attachment to self. Okay, so one of the topics in the intention of precepts 10 is to uproot the sense of mind, which is closely connected to our sense of self or ego. Okay, so the moment we say this is mind, something very important happens in the mind, and a boundary is created between me and the others. You know what I mean? Just hear something like we often compare something with other people. Okay, so from the sense of the ownership arise, pride, and this belongs to me, and a fear I might lose it, and anger someone may take what is mine, and then attachments I cannot live without this. Okay, so money and possession strongly reinforce these ideas of I, me, and mine. And the Buddha saw clearly that as long as this sense of ownership is strong, and true freedoms is impossible, because the mind is always protecting something by not handling monies or not claiming personal possessions. And the monastic trains the heart in something like non-ownership. For example, using things without calling them mine, and non-clinging, and not holding tightly to objects or identities. And then identities, just not building the self around what one owes. Okay, so it days that we live without saying this in mind, and we are quietly weakening the something like illusions of a permanent self or ego. So this is not the renunciations of objects. It is renunciation of ego. So we must understanding clearly. Precept number 10 does not only, just removes money from our hands. Okay, so it gradually removes mind from our heart. Okay, that's very good point to remember. Okay, so that should be very flexible in our modern life. So when the sense of mind becomes weaker and weaker, and the heart becomes lighter and lighter, and of course our heart becomes freer and closer to liberation as well. Okay, that is the cause teachings of the Buddha here. Is that clear for you? Okay, does it make sense? So any comments or any question for me? So any reflections? Thích Thông Thắng, can you share something about your reflection about that? You have to practice. This is not mine. Okay.
Talking about me?
Yeah.
Well, lately I've been thinking about how to remove that word, me, I, or just thinking as a third person. That's how we practice.
Awesome. Yes. And Thông Hiếu, can you please? Sure. Okay, can you share with me your
Yeah,
impression about that?
sorry, I realized I was muted. Hey, calm down, calm down. So I realized that I was actually kind of teaching this in a way today to my kids. I call them my kids, but I'm a coach for 80 kids. And every day we have these like we have these workout masks. Forgive me, that's my dog in the back. Every day we have these workout masks, and they don't have our names on them or anything, but every single day the kids are like, this is my mat, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And they get really mad. I'm like, is your name on it? You know, how is this yours? You know, it's our teams, it's all of ours together. Like, whose is it? And so it's a whole thing for that I try to get them to understand the suffering of because they get into fights about that every day. About this is mine, this isn't mine, this is yours, no, this is my mat, pushing each other off. And it's just I feel like a representation about what happens. Like when Master says how the ego starts really small with like a little toy, and then later on we get a bigger toy and it's a car or a house or something, and it's not that, but kind of like what you were referring to, and Kenneth, it's this attachment that, oh, this is mine and this is me, and my identity and sense of self is this external object. And so it's just for me seeing this, it's like a big reflection of like, okay, wow, I see this all the time in kids. How is it happening in my own life, and how can I um, get out of this in a way, or how can I understand how, like, you know, I'm working at a country club, so I'm around ultra wealthy people all the time, but you know, all these things are happening. It's really interesting to see people make all this money to pay someone else to raise their kids so they can go to a school and then never end up seeing their kids again, only on the holidays. And Master said one time that really resonated with me. If you put your kids in babysitting, they put you in babysitting later on. You know, like if you put it's interesting, the kids who get put into boarding school or private schools, their parents end up going into nursing homes later on because the kids don't want to take care of them because they don't have a connection. I also teach Tai Chi in nursing homes, so I see this every day too, where people who they spent all their money, all their time putting their kids or what doing that, and then now in their time of life where they actually need the help and assistance because they didn't give that presence because they didn't understand the kid just wanted attention and presence and time. Now they're just kind of forced in this place to kind of rot and have someone else take care of them. So I think all this comes back to, I feel like the kind of the intentions behind this when the Sangha was supported by the lay people, how the lay people provided these material things, but the Sangha provided spiritual guidance. But likewise, in this time where things have kind of blended a little bit, I think it's important for to see the Sangha not just as it's me and you and oh, we have these robes and this yellow thing that we wear. It's everybody around us and how we need to learn how to treat people with compassion and understanding because you never know, you really never understand how much we really depend on each other until you really, really need the help.
Yeah. Thank you. So just that's why because you know just here and the main point is to remember is that you know just this precept does not removes money from our hands, okay? But it can be the way to remove you know something like the precepts about the ego from our mindsets, okay? That can be the way practice, not just in all right. So another point I want to share with you is the precepts is to cultivate deep trust instead of control. Okay. So you know, just one of the most important inner intentions of precept 10 is to replace the habit of control with the practice of deep trust. So money gives a very strong feeling of security. So for example, I will be safe because I have money. Okay. So another one just can be the feelings of controls over life. And for example, I can say that I can decide everything by myself. And another feelings of independence from others. It means, for example, I do not need to rely on anyone. So on the surface, this feels you know comforting, and but the Buddha saw clearly that this sense of control secretly strengthens the ego. So when we rely on money for security, or the mind becomes attached to power, choice, and independence. So at the same time, fear also grows, fears of losing, fears of not having enough, or fears of the future. So when by renouncing money, the monastic practices the opposite directions of the worldly mind. Instead of controls or weakness in thoughts, weakness in thoughts in karma. It means something like trust things, that wholesome actions will bring wholesome result. Thus, we have a strong belief in that karma and that rules. And then we have a very strong, solid trust in Sangha. For example, trusting the community for the support and care. And then we have a strong trust in the three tools, the Buddha, the Brahmas, and the Sanghas as two refuge. And then we have a strong, just solid trust in independence, in understanding that life is supported, by many, many conditions, not by the self alone. So this training is very deep. It teaches us to live without grasping for security through wealth, and instead to rest in faith, humilities, and connections. So we see the precept number 10 is not about becoming weak or dependent. It is about becoming free from illusions of self-centered controls. And when trust replaces controls, the heart becomes softer and more open-minded and less afraid. And when the fear, just decreases, and peaks naturally, just increases. Okay, so that's very that can be the mindset to practice to improve yourself. Okay, so the next one, just how to simplify the mind for deep meditation. So another important point to remember here is to simplify the mind so that deep meditation can become possible. Okay, so we have something to practice more about that. Money and also create constant mental activities and something like planning, cultivating, and protecting and worrying. So that's why even the body is sitting quietly, the mind is still busy running in these patterns. So as long as this mental noise continues, deep concentration cannot arise. So that's why the Buddhas understand that this very clearly. So according to the Buddha, thus is why he accept a reset to remove the root of this noise at just at its source. And by not allowing monks and nuns to handle money, the Buddhas aim to reduce mental noise and to create inner simplicity as make samadhi possible. And when the people, just money is not in our hands, there is, of course, less to plan, less to calculate, less to protect, and less to worry about. So at the owner, the outer life becomes similar, and the inner life, naturally becomes quiet. So that's why we just emphasize that, just we have two parts of our life, and an inner and outside. All right, inside and outside life to focus on and to practice. Okay, so reflection for you: how can we apply this precept in our monastic life? Okay, who can share with us? Let me call in, randomly. Just hear someone else. Okay.
I can go. I can say,
Yes, sure.
I think that we, as we keep growing in our spiritual life, we keep realizing that our minds need to be stronger than our actions, and that we have to be able to monitor on a regular basis, not only our like we just studied about food. Now we're concentrating on possessions. And as we go through all of these things, it pretty boils down to how we think about these things. Do we think of it as something that is like our brother said, my mind? Um, what I think is the blessings. I think it's blessings that God provides to you for being obedient, to Him, to God, or to Buddha. And those blessings come your way, but then um, you have the not obligation but responsibility. You got a bigger responsibility to know how to distribute that, within your life. How are you to distribute it within, like for myself, like with my employees, I bring food in the mornings. Whenever we're testing, I share it with them. When I go to the temple, I share it with the temple. How I feel like when Master, I always ask Master what he needs, and then I mean, I have to ask him, "Do you need anything?" And being wise on how you distribute those blessings that God or Buddha provides for you. And I think that if you're a strong mind, you're able to get to that point where you're saying, it's like, how do I do this, right? And so as we're studying this, I look at my life, and I think that God has really done a good job with me into where I had nothing, I have a lot, and I'm able to distribute it. And God, has really given me that wisdom. And that's why I go to the temple, because I chose to go to the temple to give to that temple. I'm very far away from the temple, and I still keep going over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I give my heart and my all to the temple, because that's what I chose. And I think that we have to be strong minded in thinking about these things, not just think plainly like, well, all of these people that are working. Well, no, I mean, I can't just simply go over there. And that's why I asked Master, can I be a nun and can I keep working? Because I have my plans. I can't retire right now, so I still have a few more years. So I'm having to like look at it, because my desire is to be over there. My desire is to be in the temple, but I can't, not yet, you know? And so I struggle with that. But then again, you need to look at it this way, that, I mean, in the meantime, God, Buddha is blessing you, and you just have to know how to distribute that. You have a lot more responsibility with that. And so that's the way that I see it. As you just have to be a strong mind, I would say.
Okay. So, how do you feel after that so far?
I think that I'm learning more and more on
Mm-hmm.
how to, like I said, distribute it, because um, I have to pay off my bills that I accumulated over the years. And I have to just, that money goes to that so that I am debt free, and and am able to transition to a life at like in the monastic world, and also I have to keep going until I can retire, that money that I make, putting it to my debts, and then whatever is left over, I can,
Mm-hmm.
I can distribute it, how I can, to the temple or to my employees, to show them what, also, I mean, I think that I have the best of both worlds, because as we're going through the precepts, I can practice it with, the world over here, I can, and they ask me about it, because a lot of people already know, what I'm about. And, I share different things, and I'm able to share myself here with my employees, and then share myself whenever I go to the temple. So I think I'm very privileged in a way, to where I can um, be able to work on that, be able to work on and not letting it get to me, to where that I am free. I am not free because I wish I was at the temple, uh, and not have to worry about all of these things. But at the same time, I have to be strong in the sense that I have to know how to manage this, to manage all of this money. Like Master said that he was going to show me how to be happy and how to be, how to manage all of these things. And I mean, it's happening.
Yep. Okay, so awesome. All right, good. Well, just how to apply the precepts, in my opinion, just depends on our situation. That means individual situation. So, for example, if you live in the temple right now, you can apply the precepts by not handling money directly, or not keeping, just valuable belongings or savings, or even not using digital payment methods. All right. But when we need something, we can rely on a sanghas and the temple system, and trusting that our basic needs will be cared for through the support of the lay people. So this can be the tradition of some monasteries like Lang Mai from by Thích Nhất, Hòa thượng Thích Nhất Thanh, right? Okay, and they, all the people live in Lang Mai, and they are not allowed to hand money or something like that, right? Just all the life depends on the sangha. But I think, as for me and for you, for examples, we also apply this precept by using in all the possessions mindfulness. I mean, just without thinking, this is mine, or just broad books or phones or even our living space, seen as share the sangha property. Okay, that can be another application of this precept. Okay, so I mean, just to summarize and about how to apply this precept into our life, and I have two main points. The first one here, to apply precept 10 in our monastic life means first to let go of personal controls over money and possessions. And the second one is to transform our inner attitude towards ownerships and security. So it means there are two parts, and something inside and outside. And to do that, this one. Okay. So let's come to the couple's final slide here. Who can read aloud this one for me? Just let me cause in silence. And Ryan, you are here? Is Manuel? Are you here? No? And
Manuel's there.
pardon? Okay, can you read aloud for me? No one here? Just
Okay.
yeah.
How useful the precept is for our monastic practice. Um, Aware that happiness of a monk or a nun is found in solidity and freedom. I vow not to allow money and possessions to become a pre-
Here.
preoccupation in my life. I am determined not to accumulate money, precious objects, and possessions for my own use and not to look for happiness in accumulating them or to think that they will guarantee my security.
Okay, thank you so much. So, from this passage, just the passage teaches us a very important truth. The truth happiness, the true happiness of a monk, and then, just does not come from money or possessions, but from solidity and inner freedoms. Okay, that's a good point. You can bear in mind. And to be solid means our mind is stable, not easily shaken by desire, fear, or loss. To be free means our heart is not tied to owning, accumulating, or protecting things. When we allow money and possession to become preoccupations in our life, and our mind becomes busy and restless and burdened as well. Okay, for example. So that is why monastics makes a vow not to accumulate money and valuable objects or possessions for personal use, and not to look for happiness in owning things. So the teachings here reminds us clearly that material things cannot guarantee true security. This may give temporary comfort, but they also bring fear of loss or attachment. So this passage is reminding us that real security comes from practice, our mindfulness, our ethical livings, or from our letting it go. So when we stop chasing happiness through possessions, we discover that a deeper happiness that comes from simplicity and a freedoms and a peace of mind, and thus is the true choice of monastic path. That can be the path of enlightenment in our practice. Okay. Okay, one more. Jenny, can you read aloud for us? This slide. This one. Oh, can you please? Jenny? No. Okay. Okay. Jenny, can you read aloud?
Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
all right. Yeah, we're good, good.
Okay. How useful the precept is for our monastic practice. This precept encourages you to serve the three jewels with love and respect by taking good care of the buildings and other objects that belong to your sangha. As a monk or nun, you have no desire for personal riches. When taking care of the finances of the monastery, you need to keep reminding yourself that the aim of a monk or nun is to study and practice in order to liberate yourself and other beings. If the work you do for the Sangha takes up so much of your time that you're not able to study and practice, that work has become obstacle to your monastic life and must be abandoned.
Okay, thank you so much, Jenny. Okay, right. So just when you have a look at this slide, you can know that this passage teaches us how to serve the three jewels with right attitudes. So just as monks and nuns, we do not seek personal wealth, but we do take responsibility for caring for the properties of the sangha, the temple, the buildings, the shared objects, and this care must be done with love, respect, and mindfulness. So not just with a sense of ownership. Okay, so Hòa thượng Thích clearly reminds us that if financials or even administrative work becomes so heavy that it prevents meditations or study or even inner practice, then it has become an obstacle, not a service. At that point, it must be reduced or put down. Even do something for the monastery or for the temples. All right. So these teachings guys to keep the correct balance. Just balance something, serve the sangha with dedications, but never exchange spiritual practice for material responsibility. And so practice must always remain at the heart of monastic life. It can be balanced the time for both of them, not just, okay, to focus
Stop.
on them, right?
Thunder. Thunder.
Okay, who is talking? Okay, so the last one for our class today is the homework. Mm-hmm. So this one, how can letting go of money or ownership have bring peace to the mind? Gives one example from our daily life. Okay. So any final question for me? Okay. Any final one?
Venerable, may I ask you?
Yeah, sure.
May I ask you? So just curious on your journey, maybe when you began early or maybe as you got older, what could you share with us something that maybe you struggled with, if it's not too much to ask, and how you overcame it?
Can you say again? Yeah, because of my poor connection
First
to
off,
the internet. You say again?
that's okay. No, I wanted to see if there was something in your journey as a novice monk when you began. Was there something in specific, whether it's personal or physical, that you struggled with? Maybe something like a vulnerability or like a weakness, and how did you overcome it?
Uh,
If it's okay to ask.
well, let me think about that. You mean just something like with my life, my personal use, or
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like your youth, or just something maybe, that you've gone through in life. Maybe that made you struggle on the path, or something that kind of gave you a little bit of difficulty.
yeah, sure. Okay, so that's in terms of just financial problem, for examples. Okay,
Mm.
yeah, just because I want to focus on something in particular, not in general. Um,
Yeah, I mean you can do that too.
yeah, okay. So about my life, in the past, and when I was a little monk in my temples, I was not allowed to handle money until I became BQ. That's the rule in my temple. Okay, so in my temple, so most all all the monks, and because we are not mature enough
Okay.
to own just to have something for my own my personal use. Yeah, because we depended on almost on the temple. Okay, so and just I just want I'm talking about my financial problems in my life. It's okay for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so and after that, when I became a BQ at the age of 20s, just yes, and then
Mm-hmm.
I went to school, I went to university, and I at that times I could be independent from the temples, so I worked as a
Mm.
tutor in my city to get some money for my study. And of course, my study was supported by my master as well. But because there were so many people in my temple, so my master couldn't support everything for me. So that's why I went out
Mm-hmm.
for work to get a little money for my study. Um, but of course, my master taught me how to balance the time for my work, for my study, and for my practice, and everything plays an important role in my
Yeah.
life. So yes, and so even when I was trader, I was a student, and of course I was among in the temples, and I worked at a part-time employees in car wash to get some money for my study as well. Okay, so and like normal
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
I could earn money, and even right now, and apart from my life here, because my life is not supported by the temple, because in my temples I have to
Right.
get money, get food for myself. But the more importantly here,
Yeah.
just balance time for material life and just spiritual life. Okay, so I should practice beings aware that that can be enough for me. I need money, I need food for survival, not for uh,
Yeah.
enjoyment or for a pleasure. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. That was actually really,
Oh,
really
my
perfect.
pleasure.
Yeah.
My
Thank you,
pleasure.
Venerable.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your coming here with me. So I will give you the schedule for the text and then the schedule for the net cost if you like. It's okay?
Yes, and thank you so much for everything, for
My pleasure. Good night, everybody.
being interactive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep yourself
Thank
updated with
Thank
you.
you,
Good
with
Good night,
night.
guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
good night.
Okay. Hi, Amina. Any question for me?
Yeah, I just had a question. I uh interestingly enough, this came up today, and then when I saw the topic of the class, I thought it was a good opportunity because